What's up, traders? Anthony Crudele here, and welcome to this week's episode of Develop Your Edge. In today's show, I'll be speaking with trader Christian Fromhertz. But before we get Christian on the line, I've been mentioning each and every week we've been getting a ton of new futures traders to Develop Your Edge. Very thankful for that. And I want to mention to all of the new traders out there and advanced traders out there that we do have micros for a lot of the products that you're probably going to be looking to trade. So you can go to activetrader.cmegroup.com, click on the micros link, and then here it'll take you to equity indices, metals, FX, and it'll give you all the information that you want to know about those micro products. Hang tight while we get Christian on the line. Christian, thanks so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me, Anthony. Great to be on your show.
It's great to speak with you. Love your content on Twitter. You put out a ton of great charts showing your technical analysis and your process. We talked a lot about your process on the podcast, but we never really did get into what your actual edge is in trading. Talk to us about your edge.
Yeah, so trading edge is really important and being able to find your edge. And for me, it's really being able to spot trends very quickly and to be able to do that both on a macro basis and then kind of top-down approach. So really drilling into what I trade a lot, which is single stocks. But starting with those macro trends and then gravitating towards the smaller trends and being able to exploit those moves in single stocks. And from taking it from there, that's really rough to kind of say, okay, to be able to spot trends, you need to put a framework and a process around that to really kind of get yourself to be able to exploit those opportunities in the market.
Yeah, framework and process are extremely important, but I want to get to the part where you said that you see the trends quickly, basically as they're about to turn, or is they're already in play as they're happening. To me, that sounds a lot like preparation.
Yeah. So preparation is a big part of it, and you really have to like what you're doing, because I spend a lot of time after hours going through charts when it's a little bit less, noisy, and then, finding kind of what groups, what areas of the market are moving. And then while the market is open, I want to be able to make adjustments, right? So already have those ideas laid out and then be able to read the tape, watch some big block trades, option flow, and that kind of really will help me tweak those ideas and what areas that I want to go after, in terms of setting up trades. From there, it becomes, really taking a look at the technicals. And I have a great technical system that I use. It's called the Market Webs. It's something that I've been doing for the last 3 or 4 years. It's a proprietary tool where I'm looking at volume at price. And I'm filtering those ideas, and I'm using the system to basically look for breakouts of consolidation. And that doesn't have to be, on a weekly chart or on a daily chart. It can be. I really get excited when it lines up on multiple time frames, but I like to start with the 1 hour chart too, and kind of watch for that breakout of a recent consolidation period. And then I'm really looking for the process of least resistance. I don't want to see a lot of overhead resistance. I want to see areas where trades can really run. So, that will help me kind of plan out the trade from initiation, where the trade's not going to work, where I want to be taking the trade off of. So there's a lot of pre-planning. And then there's also a combination of that, as as a trader, not all of our trade ideas are going to work out. So it's really kind of adapting and being objective. And, the way that this market changes, a couple of days we can have a really strong trend for a couple of days in one area of the market. And then it can kind of slow down and change gears and move to another area. So I like to be on top of those. But at the same point, you have to realize when your timing may be a little bit off, and be objective and realize that you're not going to be right 100% of the time.
To really simplify what your edge is, from what I'm gathering today, it's the whole process, but the foundation of your edge is that preparation. It's you coming into the day knowing exactly what it is you're looking for in those single stocks. Am I wrong?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the more setup that I can do, the more that what I'm seeing on the tape when the market opens is
Okay.
that confirmation that, hey, I'm onto something. I've done my work. I've pre-planned it. Now I can go ahead and take action.
This goes back to traders know I talk a lot about this when it comes down to confidence, knowing what you're looking for. Everybody always says be patient on Twitter, right? But when I hear you talk, it's like you're patient because you know what you're being patient for. And that's an edge because you're sitting here going, you're scanning, reading the tape. I want to get to that in a second. And when it gets to uh, when something starts to happen on those trends that you're looking at, you're ready to go ahead and then basically become impatient and fire at it. But you
Right.
mentioned a couple of times reading the tape. And I know that a lot of traders out there listening to this are probably saying, explain more about what he means when he says that he's reading the tape.
Yeah, so what I'm looking for is just is institutional flow to confirm what I'm seeing, and that happens both. We could see it in option flow, but if you're not, regularly watching option flow, you could just kind of pick up on volume. So something very simple, just saying, hey, we're seeing volume on a breakout, and a lot of times these things will coincide. So if you've already come up with these ideas, right, it's to me, it's not that big of a reach that someone else is also seeing some of the things that you're seeing, right?
Yeah.
You're seeing a breakout of consolidation, and oh, here we go. All kinds of momentum call buying as it pushes through that consolidation and has some open field to run. So, these things. I don't think that when people say option flow, sometimes they think, oh, they must know something. I think 90% of the time, 95% of the time, they don't know anything per se in terms of like inside information, but they're savvy, right? They know that something is lining up in the technicals. They may also know that there's some information that may be coming out soon. So that's the way I kind of look to really exploit that. And again, having that group of stocks that I'm watching can just kind of help with that confirmation.
How much do you look at statistical edge in your technical analysis? Like how much of your process of your edge is based upon the stats of that setup working?
Not that. I mean, not that much. I mean, I'll basically just know that when I see a familiar type setup, right? So I don't have any like hard statistics to kind of back it up, but I know with my process that it's just recognition of the same thing over and over. That once you use a little bit of patience and kind of and wait for that setup to unfold, that you're kind of seeing the same type of similar move that you can counter on.
Yeah, so once again, for you, it's I just keep going back to preparation the more and more I hear you talk, and then it comes down to experience over time seeing these looks. You don't need statistical edge because you feel that because you've seen these types of scenarios work over and over and over again, and I don't want to be putting words into your mouth, but that you know how
Right.
to manage the risk. So to you, it's just a matter of this one may work, it may not. I knew what I was looking for. I'm going to trade it. It doesn't work. I cut my losses. I move forward.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely, and as you said, it's a matter of confidence too, right? If you know what you're looking for and you know how this is going to unfold a little bit ahead of time, yeah, I mean it's a lot of that pattern recognition and knowing how you're going to walk through that whole process from beginning to end.
Everyone knows I talk a lot about mental edge on this show, and we touched base a little bit on statistical edge. How much do you feel that your edge is experience? Like, I guess summarize it for us before we let you go. Just give us that statement of what Christian's edge ultimately is.
Yeah, I think it's definitely experience. You need to kind of go through some trial and error over your trading career, where you want to be able to try different things. This market is always changing, right? So you definitely need to be able to be flexible and adapt with what the market is giving you. But at the same point too, that experience where you've kind of made some of those mistakes. We all make mistakes trading, right? And some of these mistakes they're going to happen again. What we want to do is try to limit them and make them more of a paper cut type mistake rather than something that's really going to put you in a hole as a trader. So having that experience, really taking time to find what you're looking for that pattern recognition. For me, again, technical setup is a big part of it, and then acting when it's there, and then also when it's not there, not forcing the issue. I think that's a big thing with newer traders. Sometimes they kind of come in every day and try to replicate the same thing. And sometimes the market just doesn't give it to you that day.
No, absolutely. And before I let you go, how long did it take for you to recognize that that was your edge?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I've been trading for a long time, as an institutional trader, and over the last 5 or 6 years, as basically out as a retail trader, managing my own money, and it did take a couple years for it to really click. And once it started to click, then you really started to kind of hone in on more of the details and so forth. And as it clicked, and then you started to get the process down of getting more and more specific, more into details, that's where you really begin to build your confidence.
It takes time, traders. It takes time. Christian, thank you so much, my friend, for joining me today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Hang tight, traders. We'll be right back with my final thoughts.
24/7 access to diverse global markets. Right here.
That's why I added stock index futures to my trading strategy. Now when I see ups and downs coming, I'm ready.
Well played.
Why trade with TradeStation? It's innovative, easy to use, and totally freaking sweet. With powerful tools to track and execute your trades and low per trade commissions on stocks, futures, and options. Upgrade your trade at TradeStation.com.
Final thoughts for today, traders. First off, I hope all of you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. And I want to leave you with this one final thought going into the weekend. We always talk about being patient on social media. Christian and I talked about it today in the interview. But what we talked about today is extremely important. If you're going to be patient, you have to do preparation to know what you're being patient for. Just being patient doesn't work without doing the prep and knowing what it is you should be patient for. That in itself, in my opinion, is an edge. Remember, if you have any questions or comments, please put them down below. You could also follow me on Twitter at Anthony Crudele. Don't forget to check out Instagram at Anthony C. Crudele. That's a wrap for today. See you next week.